Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So real quick, I wanted to talk to you. Today's episode is going to be in regards to spiritual warfare and all these psychological issues. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm not a professional. That way I can keep the channel clear. Okay, so let's jump in. So let's start off by this world is a kingdom. It's a worldwide kingdom. Now it doesn't look like it's being ruled by the enemy, because you have all these different countries and things, but it is. Okay. Everybody on a high pedestal is here to do the same thing. They're in a hive mind, a one-mindedness, and this is all like Mystery Babylon. Regardless of what era that you believe that you are in, if you believe in Christ, and it talks about salvation, and I want to get to childhood issues, because what happens is when you grow up first of all, you're born into sin, and you need salvation to get out of this place and go to heaven. What happens when you're dealing with our childhood or the narcissist childhood or anybody else's childhood? You're grown up in families where some are evil people and some are naive and some are whatever, agnostic, just believe different things. And I'm not harping on anybody. I want everybody to be on this channel. Maybe they can all get healing. Maybe everybody can get healing. That's my hope. But I have to speak my truth. And so what I wanted to say about all that is when you grow up sometimes in what they call culture. Culture is a form of things, of likes and dislikes, and we just do it because of our race, our creed, whatever, our religion, whatever, But at the end of the day, I do believe wholeheartedly that Christ is the way. He's the narrow way. He's the one that can take your crooked paths and make them straight. He's the one that can give you true success in your life. But this is the problem. You grow up and you don't know him yet. And right away, everything in this world system is based on consents, even as a young toddler. And so sometimes you're walked into bad scenarios. Sometimes you get bad habits formed by the people you're around, the culture you're around. Habits form, and then sometimes you'll even get witchcraft put upon you as a child, as a young adult, and as an adult. And if you don't seek out Christ, you're going to be dealing with these things. And if you're not covered, and what covers you is you knowing him. When you say, well, consents, and people, you can get consented as a toddler, as a young child, as whatever. Yes, it is. But see, what I believe God wants, his people are going to be truth seekers. And if you seek, you shall find, right? If you knock, I always say, if you knock hard enough, the door will be opened unto you. So he will give you the desires of your heart if you seek him wholeheartedly. And I think that what's going on is in this world, they try to make the spiritual metaphysical seem as though it doesn't exist. And that's on purpose. That in itself is wearing on Christians and people that believe in spirituality, because they don't believe that they need to do anything spiritually, that everything is in the physical realm, and that everything we deal with is here. And what happens here in this physical realm is a lot of times, this is where some people say the battle takes place or the things occur. But my point is, you can even get saved, but if you're not living clean, if you're not living by the true statutes of the gospel, and if you're not seeking him every day, you won't really be covered. And you really won't have that authority. And a lot of people talk about energy and stuff. And yes, the fallen ones have no energy. It's pretty obvious they have to get it through our consent on this earth, because heaven has not consented them. And they know there's no consent through heaven. And you could just see how it's our imagery of heaven is all lit up, and hell is dark and inky blackness, right? And that shows you the fuel level right there. And we almost all have that image in our head, in our mind and our thoughts. And what they truly like is this virgin type energy, naive, young children, and people who really don't know exactly what they're given into. They get the most fuel, the cleanest fuel off of that, the biggest boost off of that. And it also will corrupt the individual if they can bind you, do binding work on you. And if you're not covered, they will have the ability to put things on you or teach you things. And if you follow them out, and if you don't learn from these things, you will continually be in folly. And it will also lead more of the spiritual realm on the dark side to you, which will then attack you more and more. And before you know it, you'll be PTSD, CPTSD, you'll be on medications and seeing therapists and all of that. And it will continue to grind you down, even if you get out of a bad situation, or it'll leave you mediocre to a point to where you're just lukewarm. And that's not what true power is through God, and that's not what he has chosen for you to do here. The problem is there's not a whole lot of people doing this. And what you see as supposedly the forerunners and the people in our recent history and the people that you see currently that are supposed to be working in the church really are just there to weaken it for the most part. A lot of the people that you see in these pulpits and on TV and all these places that represent the gospel really aren't there to truly represent it. And so we got to not look around at what we see on TV. You know, Satan is the prince and the power of the air of this world, the TV, the media, the music, everything. And he's very convincing through everything that you see and deal with on a daily basis that the spiritual realm doesn't exist, or if everybody else is doing this cattle drive toward this one area, it's okay. And it's not. And I'm just airing this out because if we want the power of God to help us, but we don't want to live clean. And we want the power of God in our life, but we don't want to know him. We don't want to have a relationship with him. And we want true healing, but we're not motivated enough to do it. I'm just speaking for myself. Okay, I'm always preaching to myself first. And I was listening to some stuff, and this stuff started hitting me because it's all true. And we have to walk that life, receive salvation, seek salvation. And we got to live sanctified. Whether your character and your integrity is not when people are out and about and see you doing these things. It's when they're not around and you're doing the righteous things. It's to walk in humility, y'all, and to not need validation from people. Just know that God validates you. And if you're doing the righteous things, and a lot of times we have all these foreign gods in our house and all kind of, and ones from this country too. But when it calls Mystery Babylon in Revelation, Mystery Babylon is the whole world now. And it is one kingdom, but it rules out of chaos. It doesn't rule out of order like Christ does. So Christ's kingdom is going to look like one kingdom. It's all going to look similar. Now, the enemy's kingdom is always going to look different. It looks like people are fighting each other, but because they work out of chaos and all they can do is destroy, they just destroy together and destroy amongst each other even. They have a power struggle amongst themselves and amongst humanity and amongst God with everybody. That's why it's also a failed kingdom, but anything evil or built on evil is going to be a failed kingdom as well. Goodness and godliness is what leads a person to salvation when you seek those things out. And when you truly get in quiet places and you give him that time. And I'm guilty of it, y'all. And I just want to get to that next level. You know, I want to get to that level to where I have experienced that level before. And it's very hard. It's hard to fight your flesh. And it's hard to do the right thing. And to be constantly thinking about the Lord and how you can be righteous and not wayward. But these are the things that protect you, that lead you, guide you, that strengthen you, that protect you. that will pull you out of this negative realm, that whatever you're in from your childhood. But only until you get down and dirty with really wanting to understand the truth of this world and to really truly seek it out, to live it, to be fervent, to spend your energy there. You can have energy, plenty of energy, but if the enemy's just going to steal it out from under you, or to plant thoughts in your head that you think are righteous and they're not, because you haven't been putting the work in and the time in, to really read the word, to pray, to worship, to supplicate with God and Christ, and to really literally try to get to know him through his word, how are you gonna grow? And like I said, we look at these people out and about that are running these churches today, that are on TV today, writing these theology books today, and trying to get our best information from them. And that's not what God had told you to do. He said to seek him. You seek him through the word. You truly get fed through the word. And you truly get grace when you try to get to know him. You try to understand him, and you do it the right way. Through worship and prayer, through supplication with him, and, through deliverance, and through communion, and through fasting. What it'll end up doing sometimes is you'll get tons of thoughts in your head, and spiritual warfare will come at you hard. Because when you start working for Christ and working for God and doing these things, what you'll find will happen is you'll have a lot of things running through your head. Like you're weak because your humility is stronger. That you're not a strong man because you're polite to everybody. And you're kind more than you ever were. And those are the true fruits of the Spirit. Or you can't, how are you going to protect yourself if you go out there acting, kind and reserved? And how are you going to advance? Those are not things that you want to be worried about. That's spiritual warfare, y'all. If we literally will set our sights and set our radar on him, and build our life revolved around him, he will build your fuel level up, and he will take you out of the woods, and he will make your crooked paths straight, and he will lead you through whatever you're going through, and he will take you out the other side. I promise you. And I just wanted to give that to y'all, because a lot of times you're into things that you don't know is folly from your childhood. You've consented to things, and you continually consent to things on a daily basis. You're not walking around protected. You've been binded by the enemy and through witchcraft sometimes, and you don't know these things because you're not fervently in the word and getting to know the Lord like you should. And when you do dig in, these things will be known to you. And that is when you could sit at a table amongst your enemies and you cannot be touched. That is when 1,000 will fall at thy left side and 10,000 at thy right, and you will not be touched. That he will lead you through the valley, and he's the bright and the morning star, and he will truly make your life fruitful. And I know there's people from different sects and walks of life and different, religions and things, and you're on here to get narcissistic education, and I understand that, and I like to talk about that. And that is a spiritual situation. It's spiritual and psychological. And when you get hundreds of thousands of people that agree with the same thing, we're all seeing the same faces, then you can say that you're hypothetically having some psychosis, but we wouldn't be seeing the same things if we were all having psychoses. These are just things to invalidate the truth in this world system. And when you get into spiritual realm of things, this is what the enemy will send out, these type of soldiers, to put you down, to weaken you, to tire you out, to wear you down. And that's why the enemy has sent these narcissists to you, because you have good, clean fuel. You have a lot of innocent, sometimes naive fuel you had, because you truly want to do good. And you're special, man. You're more special than you even know. And to some degree, you're on the right path, and so am I, but we need to continue. We need to press on. We need to go for level 2, level 3. We need to put in that work. And it's not when people are around, it's when they're not, y'all. And I'm preaching to myself first. So that's what I got for you. And that's truly from my heart, my soul, my spirit. And there's nothing in it to benefit me. I just like to speak my mind and my heart and seek the truth. And a lot of times I know the truth, but and you do too, but it's like we gotta follow it out. It's time to follow it out, y'all. Talk is cheap. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up, love y'all. Till next time, peace, we out.